Do you know what the odds are against accidentally, something slinging accidentally in a perfect circle around a star? The odds are astonishing of making a perfect circle like that. On the other hand, if we didn't have those outer giants, we'd be in serious trouble because those huge planets have a lot of gravity that enables them to sweep up incoming asteroids and meteors and space debris like vacuum cleaners, greatly reducing the number of impacts on our planet. Jupiter alone is estimated to reduce the number of meteorites hitting our Earth by 1,000 times. In a similar way, the moon acts as Earth's own personal bodyguard, orbiting us every 27 days, picking up any space trash that makes it through the inner rings into our solar system. Just look at all those craters pockmarking the face of the moon and imagine if all those impacts had hit our world instead. Without that, we'd be in a shooting gallery with no defense against these interstellar missiles. But our moon does more than that. There are 137 moons in our solar system. Jupiter has 60. But our planet is the only one with exactly one moon, and it is the biggest moon. It is about a quarter the size of our Earth. It's even larger than Pluto. And it has sufficient gravity to act as a gyroscope, keeping our Earth tilted on its perfect 23-degree angle. Without that, our Earth would wobble back and forth like Venus and Mars do. Sir Fred Hoyle, Cambridge astrophysicist, says, "A common sense interpretation of the facts suggests that a super intellect has monkeyed with physics as well as with chemistry and biology, and that there are no blind forces worth speaking about in nature. The Earth rotates at about 1,000 miles an hour at the equator, which produces winds. But if the Earth rotated more rapidly, then this would become a hurricane world. The winds would be disastrous for life. If the Earth were any larger, its increased gravity would accelerate erosion of all the land until it was below sea level. If gravity were even the least bit greater, lethal gases like methane and ammonia would not escape the surface out into space. But a smaller Earth's lower gravity would not hold oxygen down to the surface where we need to breathe it. Earth is the only known place in the cosmos with an abundance of water. What little water we find elsewhere in the cosmos is in frozen form. No water, no life. But if the ocean beds were higher or the continents lower, this would be a water world, completely buried by the seas. Without a land platform for foliage, you would have no oxygen. You wouldn't be able to produce oxygen from the carbon dioxide, and even sea life needs oxygen. If the Earth's crust were any thicker, there'd be too little oxygen, but any thinner, and this would be a volcano world, racked by constant earthquakes and eruptions, filling the upper atmosphere with smoke and plunging the world into a nuclear winter of fire and ice. If the Earth's electromagnetic field were any stronger, this would be a storm world with electrical discharges going wild. If the field were any weaker, we'd have no protection against solar winds. The amount of water and sunlight is perfectly balanced. And on we could go. The factors, if the ratio of oxygen to nitrogen were any different, if the atmospheric levels of water vapor and carbon dioxide were any different, if the rate of electrical discharge in the atmosphere was more or less, if all of these and a variety of other factors were off by the most infinitesimal margins, this would be a life-hostile world. So where does this leave Carl Sagan's estimate that there ought to be a septillion inhabitable planets, one with 24 zeros after it, out there just teeming with intelligent life forms? Now that we're up over 200 conditions and still counting, how many of Sagan's zeros does that eliminate? Dr. Hugh Ross, in his book Design and the Anthropic Principle, calculates that the chances of satisfying just 19, now there's over 200 factors, but to satisfy just 19 of the most important factors for the Earth alone are less than 1 in 100 trillion trillion. But since the universe only contains 1 in 100 billion trillion stars, then the chances of finding these 19 factors satisfied anywhere within it are less than 1/10 of 1%. In other words, if this were all just a cosmic accident, we wouldn't be here.